Raiders. He wasn't even interviewed. And so looking at the list of the people that they kind of interviewed, you can kind of tell this was kind of leading up to that. So you had, the Rams pass game coordinator Aubrey Pleasant. He was interviewed. You had the Seahawks safety coach Jeff Howard was interviewed. You had the line defensive line coach Demarcus Covington. He was interviewed. So these are all guys that really haven't had a DC position anywhere. So this is definitely on that young scale that you were referring to.
Yeah.
So when they interviewed Robbie, it's like, okay, I was waiting to hear a more experienced name being mentioned, and that never happened. So for this to kind of like be the next step, I am surprised because they are taking that flyer, but it is well deserved. I feel that it knocks two things out, right? You're promoting Robbie, which a lot of people have mentioned that he's talented.
Yeah.
And then two, you're also addressing whether you like it or not, because we talked backstage, there's some fishiness to it. You also address the Max Crosby issue because we know how Max Crosby feels about Robbie Leonard. Their relationship is pretty deep. So, and Max has vouched for Robbie before in the past for him to stay, and they've done that for him. Now you see the progression of him taking the next step and becoming the defensive coordinator. This can possibly solve two birds with one stone. Now you are running the risk of it not working out with Robbie not really having the experience to run a whole defense himself. But I think if you're going to go ahead and take a flyer on somebody, might as well do it with somebody in-house who's also talented. I'm pretty sure Kubiak has that already gotten back to him. And the next question is what type of defense are we going to go ahead and see? But before we go into that part, let me go ahead and bring out our other guy. Again, this is big news. We need to go ahead and bring in our other guy. We just did a show. We did a show a few days ago, so definitely got to go ahead and bring him in. But let me bring in my guy Raider Will in the building. What is good, my guy? Salute
what up, baby? We in here like fine wine, baby. Look at this. Hey, I know Raider Nation is a little worried with Robbie Leonard, but check this, baby. We already knew Seattle wasn't going to let all these coaches go. Everybody was like, dirty, this guy, Schwartz. Bro, the Raiders are in no position to be trading for a player or for a coach. We're not going to give up players for a coach. So what do? We say, all right, man, ain't no worries. We ain't scared. We're going to go look in-house for a guy that's quality, for a guy that can come in and fill those shoes. Hey, you're right. Are we taking a chance? Absolutely. But why not go young? Why not bring somebody up in your own house that knows all your dirty laundry, that knows how to handle the Max Crosby situation? I'll be like, hey, it's a straight out win, baby. Y'all know what it is.
Yeah. Shout out to Samir. Looking like the motherfucker that gave me a speeding ticket last month. Went from looking 18 years old to lieutenant of the Air Force.
I had to clean myself up, bro, for Valentine's Day. I had to clean myself up for Valentine's Day.
No,
GQ.
Gotta get today on point, bro. Shit, there you go. How you feeling? Let me ask you, how you feeling about Robbie Leonard getting the nod and get promoted to defensive coordinator?
Bro, like I said, right now the Raiders, we are not the most attractive job. We're not like this, like everybody wants to come here, right? And we're saying, oh yeah, Jim Schwartz. What are the Browns going to want? They're not letting him out of his contract. They're going to want compensation. All these high-name defensive coaches are not being let go. And the Seahawks are not going like, oh yeah, go ahead, take whoever you want. I'll be like, they have certain coaches that they want to retain.
Yeah.
People were saying, hey, Carl Scott's going to come. Now it's saying that Carl Scott's not going to come. So I'll be like, what do? You turn every stone, just like we did for the head coaching job. You can go out there, you can look up for whatever coach. I don't care. And here's the thing. People go like, oh, well, you know, these coaches are unproven and this and that. Every coach is unproven at some point in time.
Talk with
You know, we have to go out there and we have to take a chance on this young man. If he's been sitting there in the tank waiting his opportunity, bro, it's stupid of us to go outside of our house, bring in another guy that doesn't know the players that he's taking. At least Robbie Leonard knows the players.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He can go in there and say, hey, how do we deal with Max? Hey, how do we deal with this situation? At the end of the day, those are key points that people miss. People want these guys that are experienced. I get it. I wish I could get Jim Schwartz. I wish we could get those guys. But at the end of the day, bro, we can't. And we can't give up draft picks in order to get these coaches. So let's just keep it a B. Let's keep looking. And if Robbie Leonard fills the shoes and strokes the egos and smooth things over and builds a hell of a defense, nobody's going to be talking about how Robbie Leonard was a freaking a flyer coach, that we took him on a flyer because he wasn't the top pick. Nobody's going to talk about that. All they're going to say is, oh, that motherfucker's a badass. Oh, yeah, man. I knew he was going to be awesome. That's why the Raiders kept him around.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what people are going to say.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, hey, man, give him the shot.
Yeah. I mean, and Will, you brought it up. I think you pointed it out. Why would Seattle let those coaches go? Like that defense is coming off a Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, they just won the Super Bowl. I don't. You know, yeah, I didn't see that happening. You know, maybe you siphon off a couple, but you know, it makes sense for them to block a lot of these interviews and stuff, especially when it's like lateral moves.
Exactly.
They're gonna be like, no. They're gonna be like, no. We're not gonna let our guys like leave the building and go somewhere else and set up success somewhere else. You know, we're gonna keep them in house.
Yo, don't be putting a Mitchell Rentz on me when he goes out there and says, oh, I got bad news for the Raiders. Jake Peetz was got blocked for being interviewed. I'm sitting here like, motherfucker, he obviously got blocked for a transfer job. It's not like he was getting promoted.
Yeah.
You know, we obviously looked at him as the run game coordinator. Mm-hmm. So don't sit here and try to act like the freaking Seahawks. All of a sudden, this is bad news and shit. Come on, man. We knew the Seahawks were going to block shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Shout out to my guy, Jaw. He says Albert Sports reported that Rob hire was to keep Max Crosby happy. I know about the Albert Sports. I take that with some grain of salt. And the reason being because it's not Albert Breer, right? But either way, even if it was, I still take it with a grain of salt. But again, it's kind of like trying to do it's the two birds with one stone type of situation, right? You're getting a defensive coordinator, somebody who's talented, and then this will motivate Max to stay here with the familiar face, with the familiar system. And then this kind of brings into my next segment. It's like, what is this going to mean for the defense, right? How is that going to go ahead and look this next season coming up, right? Are we going to see really an emphasis on that front four, on that linebacker group? And then, you know, how is this going to affect the secondary? You know, my thing is, we're probably going to see a stronger front four on the line. Again, it depends who we go out and get in free agency. Linebacker wise, and also, you know, defensive tackle wise, and who we draft as well. That's another thing too. Just going back to Primo's point of, you know, what kind of Robbie deserved to get this type of promotion, right? And I keep saying talented, but there are some things that he did. You know, you brought up Tonka Hemingway. I think my biggest point would be Chason. Look at Chason. Chason bounced around from teams that he literally got cut from the Jaguars. It's like, what
he got that dude paid. That's what happened.
He came to Vegas, hooked up with Robbie, and he balled out that year. This was like a Tom Telesco fucking steal, right? And then this regime came in last year, and that's a knock on Spytek 100%. He fucking let that dude walk out the door, along with Robert Spillane, another guy you can also go ahead and kind of attribute to that as well. And these guys literally went to the Super Bowl and helped New England really, really create that strong defense. So that stuff is it's all Robbie. I think a lot of, if you can knock the defense last year, you have to put majority on that on Pete, and you can only do so much with the talent that you have in house, right? If if you're getting guys that normally you wouldn't go after, it's like, what voice do you really have, right? Especially if you're lower on the totem pole. In this case, Robbie Leonard probably was like third, fourth on the totem pole. He really didn't have a whole lot of say because it was always going to be Pete's defense. And then you have PG, who's really kind of running, half of the plays or three quarters of the plays or whatever. And this is the system that Pete wanted to implement. So now you have this opportunity with Robbie Leonard. What are we going to go ahead and see? I feel that that's probably going to be the route that we're going to go. That we're going to see what we expect to see is a lot of pressure from the front four. Disguising certain schemes. Without having to go ahead and blitz a whole lot. But again, it's all depending on the personnel that we go ahead and get. How do you guys thinking that this defense is going to go ahead and look? Primos, I go to you first. What are you thinking?
Well, going based off from the Raiders.com, they posted this for last season, going into the 2025 season, just to give you guys an idea of what this front four did last season in 2024 or 2 years ago. Leonard coached a defensive line unit that recorded 20 passes defended, the second most in the NFL amongst D-line units. The Raiders also logged 38 total sacks, including 18 sacks over the last 6 games, tied for the fourth most in the NFL over that span. Despite injuries throughout the defensive line, the Raiders saw sack production in 2024 with 18 different players recording at least a half a sack, tied for the most in the NFL. What I'm expecting is him to get the best out of these guys, whoever it may be. And it's honestly, that's probably what's going to look like in 2026. It's going to be a lot of guys that we really don't know that is going to be starting on this defense. Outside of free agencies and drafts, understandable. It's going to be a young defense. And you're pairing that up with a young defensive mind head coach. He's going to be able to rally the troops together. This isn't going to be someone like PG or someone like Pete Carroll who, hey, we're going to run this defense and we're going to run it my way. And that is that. He's going to be able to talk with these players. What do you guys see out there? And he will adapt to this defense. That's why I would say I'm hoping to see that, adapting to the game and not just keeping that middle of the field wide open, as we keep saying, or we're not, we're still sending the front four with not getting any pressure, and we're not dialing up any blitz packages. Heck, we're not dialing up any blitz packages. Look at Seattle. They were calling late blitzes. Anything like that. Like, I want to see some adapting to the NFL now, but also if there's not pressure getting to the quarterback with your front four, call a damn blitz. Like, I feel like that's another thing. We don't trust our linebackers, and maybe that's a testament to the talent that they had last year, but also you could put that on the coaches as well, that then you're just not developing these guys if you're not trusting to put them in situations that can help them succeed. And I believe that's what Robbie is going to really focus on, is putting this defense in position to succeed, putting these linebackers in a spot to succeed, these linebackers. But it is going to start with the trenches. He's a defensive line coach at heart, and I believe he's going to tell Spy to, hey, you need to go give me some D-line help. You got to go give me we got to work on that front seven. Give me these I need these linebackers. I need these D tackles, these edges. But I'm also expecting an aggressive defense. I think he's going to realize how strong – we got to think of going into the season. The Raiders are going to be an offensive team. They're going to try to score a lot of points, which we don't know because, again, the draft hasn't come. We think Mendoza's the pick. I believe he's going to have an aggressive defense to be able to try to create turnovers, try to get the opposing offense off the field, but mainly give our offense more opportunities to score points on the board. That's your biggest weakness, is having a great offense that's not on the field all the time. So I'm excited for Robbie Leonard, but at the same time, you guys, I'm intrigued because what type of defense we're going to get. I'm hoping it's going to be an aggressive one. I'm expecting an aggressive one based on how he coaches that defensive line.
Right. Shout out to Kenneth. He says, "I hope everyone isn't expecting us to be good the first 2 seasons
Yes.
because we're not. It's gonna take 2 seasons to get some talent on this team because our secondary is suspect. Probably 5 games the first year." And you're right, bro. That's why we keep saying to everybody, this is a time where Raider Nation needs to exercise patience, and it's not gonna look
Yes.
pretty. It's not gonna look good, all the time. But if there's any expectations, and we'll get into that part in just a bit, that we just look competent out there, that we know what we're doing, we look like an actual professional team. Though we're going to be lacking in certain areas, and that's okay. You don't get it right year one. It takes a lot. A lot of things have to happen in order for us to go ahead and get it right year one. Could it happen? Yes, anything is possible for sure, 100%. But for it to actually happen, um, that's probably going to be highly unlikely. My thing with Robbie, and I hope that he doesn't get one and done. I think the
Yeah.
defense has to look really, really bad. Like we got to be bottom end again for
Like
him
like
to be
terrible too, and
to be
terrible. Like
shipped out to
last
get
in
his boots. Like,
sacks, last in
yeah,
turnover. Yeah.
right, exactly. I don't see that happening. I see that. Um, I see us, probably improving, but not a whole lot. I still see us towards the bottom, but I see us a little bit better than this last year they just went through. And the scheme wise, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of influence from Patrick Graham, to be honest. They were together for last 3 years, literally working directly
Yeah.
under the guy. I wouldn't put it past Robbie using a lot of like different schemes that normally Patrick Graham would go ahead and dial up.
Mm.
Let me ask you, well, what do you expect, or what do you think this means for the defense with Robbie Leonard here?
What do I expect? That's a good question. Hey, I'm going to tell you something, man. I am going to expect effort. I will no longer see a Raiders player give up on a play in order to give up a touchdown. I will not see a Raiders player not do what they were supposed to do and do their job. Okay. I expect the players to be well coached. I expect our in the box defense to be solid. He's a linebackers up front guy or defensive line coach. I expect that our defensive line should be playing a lot better in order to help our backside. I'd be like, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, he doesn't have any defensive back experience, secondary experience. That's why you got a secondary specialist. You got a defensive pass coordinating specialist. You can bring those guys in. But the thing is this, with Robbie Leonard, I expect for us, I hope that he changes up the angles. I hope that he goes into a wide 9, okay, brings up that Max Crosby a little bit wider from that tackle, get in that 9 wide front, and let them roam and do their thing. I think he's going to be in a nickel package a lot. He's going to bring that 4-2-5, 4-3 look. We'll be in a 4-2 or 4-3 show. So I'll be like, that's kind of like the things that I'm looking at. I'll be like, he has to really also get the most out of his players, because I'm going to be honest. Wow, he has a lot of great accolades. Tyree Wilson is a name that I'm seeing, and I'm like, Rob Leonard, where you at, baby? Number 1 draft pick. I see Malcolm Kuntz that we brought back for $12 million, looking like straight cheeks. So I'd be like, as many accolades as he has, he also has some things that he has to work on. So what I expect this year is a lot of things to change. I expect the defense to come out and play with a lot of heart. There's going to be a lot of mistakes. I think that people are going to have high expectations, but I agree with everybody here that's saying about 5 wins.
Yep.
If you can get 5 wins and a good gelling team, a team that's gelling and moving forward, and I'll be like that, you are competitive. And that you go out there and you say, hey, man, we are out there fighting every game.
Yeah.
We are out there with our defense. And I'm going to tell you, people are expecting us to be more aggressive. They're expecting us. Yeah, I wouldn't drop. I wouldn't drop Crosby into freaking coverage. I'd be like, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's look at it, guys. Our defense will be more aggressive. They'll come out firing out. You know, you're going to have a new coordinator. You're going to have new blood. You're going to have new energy. The facts are going to be this. Can Rob Leonard have that defense prepared? Can he go in there just like the Seahawks were? Okay. The Seahawks defense, guys, was talking about how within certain packages from the Patriots, certain receivers only run certain routes. Matt Collins only running deep routes and comeback routes when he's lined up in a certain position.
Yeah, I seen that. They knew exactly what they were doing before they did it.
That is a defensive coordinator. Okay. When you are breaking down tape and being able to tell your players, hey, man, be alert for this. That makes the player play faster. It makes a bad player play better. And it makes a good player play great.
Yeah.
So having this defense prepared is what's going to be key. We can talk about practice all day long and talk about how we're going to get repetitions and execute in practice. But how prepared are these guys going to be going into game day? Are we going to have John Spytek in there? You know, coaching them up?
Yeah.
Or are we going to have guys in there that are prepared, that are in there paying attention, locked in, and all being on the same page?
Yeah.
That's what's going to make the defense.
Let me ask you this, Will, because you mentioned, you know, play nickel. And as you know, the current guy that we have at nickel is Darnay Holmes. So you're basically saying we're most likely going to go ahead and upgrade that position because and this is the thing that I was yelling at last year. Same thing along with my guy Rundown. Shout out to Rundown. We're saying like we got to address the fucking nickel position. That was never addressed, ever addressed. We just put that shit like on our fucking back seat in the trunk. We'll look at it when we can, and we paid for it, right? So. Do you see us going out and really upgrading that position either in free agency or the draft?
I'm going to tell you like this. If you bring in a nickel package, so we call that, and when I bring it, we call it the star. Okay. The star, that nickel is the most crucial part of the defense when you bring in that nickel package. He has to be able to tackle like a linebacker, cover like a corner, and do stuff like a safety. So at the end of the day, if you are bringing that package and you believe that you'll be heavily in that package, you're absolutely upgrading the nickel. But are you doing it through free agency? Are you doing it through the draft? That's all to be in question. Maybe he believes he does have somebody there. Again, that's up to the coach, and he has to be able to look at that. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Our defense didn't play up to its capabilities. Our defense has a lot of players that are sitting out there that we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Just like all these rookies that we drafted last year, not very limited reps. So it should be interesting, but I do expect them to upgrade the defensive back situation, especially at the nickel position. I'm like, that's just, again, depending on the defense that he runs. I am taking a wild guess here. I'm going with the 40 front. He might go into a 30 front, which I don't know who we would have that would play nose tackle, because when the 30 front, you usually have a nose that is a double A gap player. And I don't see us having a double A gap player right now. So that's why I'm guessing that we would be in a 40 front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Real quick. Shout out to everybody here. We have almost 80 in the building. Make sure you guys go ahead the like and subscribe to all the channels you see here. My guy Primos to my left. Make sure you guys go ahead and give him subscribe, and my guy Red Will over here to my right. Make sure you guys
what it is, baby,
on this channel. And of course, y'all already know mine at Just Raiders. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. It really does go ahead and does support the shows out there. I want to go ahead and highlight this comment. Shout out to my guy Severe. He says the main problem that I have is that this should have came up during the interview. Kubiak needed to have a plan and handshake deals in place in the event that he got the job. I like Rob, but prefer the vet. And you're not wrong, bro. 100%. And that's why I said earlier, like I felt that was the safer way to go. And the reason why I say it's safer is because you're bringing in somebody who's already experienced, already has a system in place, and basically has that confidence. Like, look, I've done this at other places. I this is what works, right? And so you have that. Now you have a guy like Robbie Leonard, though he's been in here for a few years now, has gone through this, one particular system here. He's worked at other places and said other things. This is what he knows. So I feel that we're gonna go ahead and see a variation of that. But yes, the safer thing to pair up a first time head coach is pairing them up with a more experienced either offensive coordinator if it's a defensive minded guy, or if it's an offensive minded guy with an experienced DC. Obviously, that's not the case. We're going to see how it goes. But it was something that I didn't really see really forthcoming. I thought this is a small possibility of it happening, and yeah, it sure did.
Yeah.
I want to go ahead and jump into this part real quick. Y'all already know we got to go ahead and address these things for sure. But let me go ahead and bring out the rumors.
Love rumors. Facts can be so misleading. Were rumors true or false are often revealing.
Yo, hey. So Jay, real quick though. I see a comment. Let me ask you this. If we bring in a veteran DC, because I see Matt put it this, does that mean that we would have too many chefs in the kitchen though? If it's a veteran DC like a Schwartz is looking to be a head coach.
I don't think like, what do you mean? Like I don't know what that really references to. Like
kind of like is he referencing like a Chip and Pete thing where it was like, you guys
I don't think it's a Chip and Pete thing, for the reason being that I felt that Clint was going to really rely on his defensive coordinator to really run that side of the ball. I think with Pete, knowing what Pete has done in the past, he does get involved with the offense from time to time. And I think we saw some of that this past season too, with some of the play calls. We've heard that Pete, did some of the play calls here and there. So you have that. I think in that scenario, you have that happen. But I think in this scenario, it's like, look, you're going to stay in your lane. You're going to run this side of the ball. I'm running the offensive side of the ball. Obviously we're going to go ahead and come together and collaborate, but this is your baby. You're in charge of this. I'm not going to get so much involved in this. I'm not going to go ahead and try to dial up a scheme for you, like that type of scenario, or tell you need to go ahead and play these guys, so much. Though he could, I don't really see that happening. I think Clint's so dialed up in the offensive side of the ball, I don't think he would have that happen per se. But okay. I wanted to go ahead and obviously we gotta talk about this. Oh. Now that Robbie's here, that Robbie's staying and he's getting promoted, what does this mean for Max Crosby? As you guys know, the rumor mill on Max Crosby has been running rampant and crazy for the last few weeks, going on 2 weeks now. We've heard shit from like Max is pissed about being shut down, to Max never wanting rather retire than play for us type of scenarios. I think I've heard them all. The latest that supposedly it's on Tom Brady and the wellness coach Alex Guerrero that works for the Raiders, that there was some bad or miscommunication that happened between both of them, that there's some feels in there. There's some bad feelings in there. There's some animosity or whatever. And so the rumors of him potentially departing have been probably stronger than it has in the last couple of years. But what does this mean now that obviously we got Robbie, who's going to be running the defense? He's going to be here for at least another year or two, if not longer. Was this a move obviously to not only appease Max and to make Max stay? What are you guys' thoughts on it? I'm gonna defer to Will on this because Will's like he's like a dog when he sees a piece of meat. He's ready to go. So what are your thoughts, bro?
Hey, hit me with the romantical music right now because we are on Valentine's Day and the Raiders are wooing Max Crosby, baby.
I don't know if there's any romantical music, but I can play some like a little bit of music for you if you want to.
All right, are you ready? Are you ready, Jay? Are you ready? All right, baby. As y'all know, right now, the Raiders are pulling out all the stops. Not only are we gonna get you Kubiak, baby, but Maxie, baby, we know we fucked up. We know we treated you bad. We know that we just smacked you around and treated you bad. So what we gonna do tonight is we were gonna woo you with some Robbie Leonard, baby. And hopefully tonight, you and us will be clapping cheeks all night on this Valentine's Day, baby. And that is just the Raider way.
Oh my God.
But
I needed some Jeff music on that. Music. I needed to put that in there, bro. That would have been perfect from some, late 80s, early 90s soft porn music.
Yo, but I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't think the Raiders are doing it to appease them. It's just the situation we're in. Guys, we all said it. Everybody wanted to bring in a senior defensive coordinator, a guy that was seasoned. But who are we going to bring in? Tell me the names that are lining up to come be a defensive coordinator in Las Vegas. I'll wait. Crickets? Yeah. That's what it is, man. At the end of the day, what it is we're basically, hey, we're not an attractive team. We don't have anything to stand. I mean, like defensively, what are we going to tell people? Come coach Max Crosby? So a young defensive coordinator doesn't want to come here. An older defensive coordinator doesn't want to come here. And the guys that do want to come here are under contract. So what do? You look around everywhere else to try to find the next best option. And Rob Leonard has been sitting here for 13 years. So I think that's why they gave him the chance. I do think that, the Max Crosby connection does help a little bit. But yeah, that's how I feel like that. Appreciate you for the music, Big J. We keep it suave over here on Valentine's Day, baby.
Yeah. What about you, Primos? What are you thinking? You thinking that this was this probably was a move to appease Max, and what do you feel like his likelihood of him staying is now that Robbie's a DC?
I gotta agree with Will. There's two things. So first, I believe they didn't do it to appease Max. I think again, it's just a situation they're in. The only veteran defensive coordinator out there, I think that we all wanted was Jim Schwartz. I wanted, and I agree with Severe. What Severe said earlier. I think we all wanted a veteran defensive coordinator. That it just made sense to pair him up with Clint Kubiak, a first-time head coach. He'll handle the offensive side of the football. The veteran DC will handle the defensive side of the football. But other than Schwartz, to Will's point, who was out there that was a veteran? You had they were interviewing all these position coaches already. And I was thinking, if you're going to go that route anyway, we're going to basically give someone a promotion. Why not just promote your own guy that's already in-house? And who people said in the building. Now, this is coming from in the building. A lot of people have sung his praises. I would even put it out there. Are we Davis Webb from on the defensive side of the football question mark? You know how a lot of people in Denver are singing Davis Webb's praises, that he just needs to climb the ranks, become an OC, and he's one of them ones. A lot of people were saying that about Rob Leonard, and that he just needs a chance. He needs a chance to show what he's got. Now, I'm going to answer this in regards to Max. If you're only making this hire to appease Max,
it's the wrong reason.
Be a shit show.
Yep.
This defense is about to be a shit show.
100%.
Because then you really didn't do your due diligence in searching for a defensive coordinator. You were eyeballing Max, and you're like, you know what? We'll just go get his guy. It is what it is. Make him happy, and hopefully Max comes back. And the fucked up thing is, if you did that, you're hiring Rob Leonard just to appease Max, and Max still wants to leave. You just fucked everything up. Like, and I wouldn't want them to do that. And if it comes out that they did do that, and it shows throughout the season, or if someone close to the Raiders organization comes out that they just did this for Max, this defense is going to be a shit show. And I'm expecting it to be a one and done season for Rob, unfortunately, because we've seen how it went with AP. They hired AP for the fans. Mark hired him for the fans for Max, and it was a shit show with him. Now, as it stands with Max, is this going to bring Max back? I don't know because I don't know where Max is at, where his, I would want him to come back. Hey, they brought your guy back. Why wouldn't you want to work with Rob? You said you have a good working relationship with Rob. And the thing is, this thing about whether it's Tom Brady's, I don't know, the Guerrero dude, bro.
Yeah.
Get your feelings out. Like, this happened in December. The season's over. We're on to a new season. Like, get over it. Okay. And he's back to work. He was there, in the building during Clint's podcast, but he's not saying no to the possibility of being moved.
Here's the thing, though. Hey, Primo, how many times the man got to say no? I mean, he said it no for the past 3 years. And the past 3 years, people are speaking for him. He even said it. People speak for me. I'm tired of speaking on it, And then he's like, because at the end of the day, bro, like it's a tiring question. And I'm going to ask you guys this. Because of this repeated onslaught by journalists, by people asking Max Crosby if he's going to get traded every year. Do you think that's pushes you in that way to say, hey, man, every fucking year I'm dealing with this. Every year, no matter if I say nothing, they're telling me. I'm like, I might as well go make my life easier.
And and honestly, Will, I think that's where we're, even as content creators, we're getting pissed off, even for Max, is because it's not Raider fans putting that out there. It's media members, like people who have credible, have a reputation in NFL media that is, Max wants to leave. Max isn't happy. Raiders shut it down. Spytek said, we're not trading Max. You don't let those guys go. Clint said he's excited to work with him. That's one of the reasons why he came here. They're promoting Rob Leonard to DC again. I don't know if that is. I'm hoping it's not a reason to keep Max, but I gotta agree with you. At some point, I get worried because I'm like, is these media members gonna push Max out of Vegas? Like, is it gonna get so tiresome to Max? Like, you know what? It seems like it would just work best for you guys, work best for me if you guys just trade me away. Media will stop annoying you guys of the questions. I will stop having people speak for me. And that's what I don't want is media, because it seems the Raiders want to keep him. Max, we know he wants to stay and be with the Raiders. But the media members, it seems all they want to talk about. The Super Bowl was a week ago, you guys. And the entire time we were supposed to get ready for a Super Bowl, people want to talk about Max and the Raiders.
Oh, yeah, bro. That was a talk. That was a whole talk. And shout out to Alec, bro. I said this shit too. I'm like, Razor all drunk, talking out of his ass, bro. Shaking my fucking damn head. He sounded suspect, bro.
Jay, you brought it up too when it came out. Why didn't he bring it out? Why didn't he bring it out in December? Why wait?
Yeah, like why listen to the way he's speaking. Like some of the words were a little bit slurred, and then there was some of it because he has a condition. I don't know. But
condition my ass.
Yeah, but it's funny how this shit came out during that time, And we don't know when this conversation took place. We don't know if it was 2 weeks ago. We don't know if it was 2 months ago. We don't know if it was like, a few months after that. We don't know. We just know that yes, he was frustrated. Max was frustrated. He got shut down early. We know that as a fact. He's admitted to that. Now, is he done with like a whole rebuild and all this type of shit? I'm pretty sure he's not thrilled about it. But that I don't think that constituted as him wants to go ahead and just up and leave. I mean, some of the stories again, they were fucking outlandish. The Mike Florio one I think was the one that takes the cake. Like he'd rather retire than having anything to do with the Raiders. But yet this dude is like at the facility with the full Raider gear on, like working out and
it's just getting
back to his rehab.
Bro, like what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys putting out there?
Yeah, like no accountability.
Jay, I said, make this make sense. Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady's going to go to another GM. Hey, my best player.
Or John Spytek.
Or John Spytek or one of the two top guys are going to go to another GM and go, my best player just told me that he would rather retire than play for me. And that's going to get you maximum trade value? Come on, man. I'd be like, we weren't born yesterday. If your best player tells you, hey, I want out, you're probably going to shut the fuck up and start calling all these teams and being like, hey, man, trying to figure out what you can get in trade value, but you're not going to tell them, hey, this guy just said he'd rather retire at 27 years old than play for me.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense.
It does not make sense, and that's
I get what Bebop is saying, but we also gotta. I get Max is a competitor, but let's not act like this guy is like limping on one leg. Like, bro, I don't know how many surgeries this dude has had, but sometimes you got to protect the player from himself. Yeah. Like we were all upset when Brock was playing on a knee injury. Like you don't want to and Max has to understand that. Do you want to play for 4, 5, 6 more years, 7 more years, or do you want to have another knee injury next season? And that could be a career altering injury that forget sitting out for 2 games. You might be done for the rest of your career. And that's what Max needs to understand. They were shutting you down. Yes. Do people want to think we're tanking? They shut everybody down. They shut Brock down. Outside of Genty, they shut everybody down. Like Spytek was like, this season is done. What are we playing for? I get Max wants to play for pride, but dog, dude, you gotta come to your senses. It's like, let's get ready for 2026. Okay. 2025 is over. And maybe I would say this also. Max probably was upset, in which we all can agree. He likely was upset getting shut down. He's a competitor. But I do believe that the media members, he may have talked to some media members or maybe some guys he's close with, and they're putting words in his fucking mouth. Like I wouldn't count on it. And that they're spinning it.
We know that him and Glazer have a relationship, but you got to think about it like this, and this is probably maybe where Glazer did him a little bit dirty. But it's like when you're having an issue, you're gonna go ahead and talk to your boys, to the people that you're cool with, like, hey, this is going on, I'm not feeling this, or yada yada yada. Everybody does it. Yeah. But there's certain things that should not be put out there, and there's things that are okay to be put out there. So was that the thing to put out there? Probably not. But Glazer took it because he wants to be relevant for whatever reason. We don't know his full agenda, whether it be clicks, whether it be relevance for clout, whatever. He put it out there and he threw the fucking grenade and just like sat back and just be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, the gasoline to the fire.
Right, exactly. And everybody ran with it. Anything Max related is always going to be news, right? And anything that he says is always going to be dissected by like with a magnifier. It always happens without fail. So he can be like, oh, he liked this dude, he liked this quote from this dude. Does that mean he wants out? Like, what? Like, it's just him liking something. It doesn't mean anything. And this happens to everybody too. There's other people in the limelight, not just Max Crosby. So again, it's just funny how certain things always get stuck to Max, and I think we've we're here again, and it is what it is. I've said this before. Look, if Max wants out, Max should say something that he wants out, but not to us, to Spy Tech. Letting him start the process of him shopping him around. And if there's a time to move on for Max, the time is now. Don't wait another couple of years. Yes, your trade value is going to diminish. And I tell the people this all the time. Like, you're not going to get 3 firsts for Max Crosby. It's no way. You're not. Unless you fleece somebody, then you can. But for it to really happen, I think realistically, we're probably going to get like a first and a second, or maybe like a first and 2 seconds type of scenario. You might be able to go ahead and get 2 firsts if the right person comes along. That's more of a realistic thing. And I think you're still fleecing somebody with that. The value, the trade value of these players always diminishes. It does, it depreciates. So, and especially Max now being a little bit older, having him go through a couple of surgeries already, having some injuries already, I'm pretty sure that that value is starting to diminish. You can get a first. I don't doubt that. But to get more than get another first round pick on top of that, I think now it's starting to become a little bit of a stretch. And this is kind of what's been out there. So I don't know if it does happen. Like I said, it should happen now. It shouldn't wait until next season, the season after that, because you're not going to get what you normally would get for a guy like Max Crosby. But I really think that now with Robbie here, I don't see that happening. I think it's a 2 bird with 1 stone type of situation where they felt Robbie was probably the best candidate to go with. You're getting somebody in house. You're getting somebody who was talented. Again, this guy has developed guys, and you can totally attribute the resurgence of Caleb on Chase on to him. You got Kuntz as well, though Kuntz has his shit. I don't know if Kuntz stays or not. And then Spillane is another guy as well. They can go ahead and kind of attribute to that as well. So he has talent. Now, is this going to go ahead and translate on the bigger scale? That is yet to be seen. So I don't know necessarily what's going to happen, but I think Max stays. I think this is probably a good move. I think it's going to work out. We just probably won't see that happening fully in year one. It'll probably take till next year until we get all the pieces lined up. That we'll probably see this defense as what it should really be. But all depends on what we do in free agency and the draft, how aggressive we are there. So for sure. I want to move on to this. What's next for the Raiders after Robbie signs? Obviously, there's still some positions to be filled, and I want to kind of go ahead and go over the hires that have been done and some retained. Some people have been retained as well. So let me go ahead and put this one out there first. Raiders go out, aside from the Robbie Leonard news, this happened a couple of days before, like a day before. Raiders went out and hired Mike McCoy as their assistant head coach. As you know, McCoy spent some time with the Titans. He worked out there as well. So, and then he was also in Denver. So he's had some hands in the pie, but most notably, he came with the time. So he worked with Cam Ward out there. That's one of them that happened as well. You have also Coach
Woods.
Woods has also been retained as well. He is staying on with the Raiders. He's defensive pass game coordinator. And he's going to probably be a big asset. And again, having that continuity there with Robbie, they're going to be working probably even closer than they probably normally would, and having Robbie really rely on Joe to go ahead and get that part of the game cinched up for sure. So, how are you guys feeling about these hires and these guys being retained? I'll start off with you, Primos. How are you feeling? What are you thinking?
Hey, with Mike McCoy, man, I think him and Clint, they're waiting for the draft. They're waiting for the draft and getting their hands on Fernando Mendoza. They have now. Fernando's going to have 2 coaches that is going to be able to help develop him. Now, does this mean he'll start year 1? I don't know. I wouldn't. I would prefer him not to start year 1. I think they still got to go out and get a guy. But also, we're talking about a veteran presence in Mike McCoy. He was a head coach before. This is Clint's first, stint as a head coach. He could, Clint can lean on Mike McCoy, and it seems they both have a relationship going back to those Denver days. So I love it because you're bringing in a guy that is essentially gonna, have Clint he can lean on, but they also already have a developed relationship. This isn't going to be egos clashing, and there might be, disagreements here and there, but it's going to be a calm, cool, collective conversation that they can have with each other. As far as Joe Woods, you got to keep a little bit, you can't give Rob Leonard, a bunch of new faces. You got to keep some guys familiar around, but I think he is going to be a big asset. I'm interested to see how him and, Will talked about earlier. How are they going to have this defense ready? How are they going to game plan come game days? That's one we can talk about. That's one of the weaknesses of this Raiders defense. It seems year in and year out, passing game is always killing us, especially in the division with the Chargers and the Broncos and the Chiefs that are pass heavy offenses. Definitely you want to keep Woods around, especially as a pass game or defensive pass game coordinator. So I love it. Again, you're keeping the youth movement, but with the Mike McCoy move, I even love it more because you're not having any egos clash or anything like that. This is a guy that's going to come in and help Clint every step of the way. And I believe this is a guy also that Clint can lean on, and he trusts his input 9 times out of 10.
Right, for sure. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Will, with this hire with Mike McCoy, you're pretty enthusiastic about it.
You know what, man? It's a smart move. That's the thing, though. We both just talked about. Look, both coaches that we just talked about right now that are hired are senior coaches. These guys have experience. What did we say? Hey, we need experienced coaches in order to help these 2 young guys. If we bring on Leonard, you have an experienced guy that has already worked with them, that has that continuity with them. Mike McCoy has continuity with Kubiak. Kubiak has worked, or Mike McCoy worked with his dad. He worked with other people around that to say, hey, you know what? I know the system.
Right.
When you are talking about developing a quarterback, Mike McCoy can go in there and help the development of the quarterback one-on-one. Kubiak doesn't have to be in that room in order to know what's happening. These guys have that continuity. Great hires. Okay. First of all, like when you talk about your defensive coordinator, if you do make it Leonard, bro, you got that senior guy on staff that he can go and rely on, and they're talking about it. There's no ego in the room. They've already been working together. There's not going to be this thing where, oh, no, man, no, man, let's figure it out together. We've been working like this. We probably talked in several meetings before how things were fucked up and how we needed to fix things.
Right.
So when you look at all those things, man, those 2 hires are great hires, not only because they're bringing great experience and knowledge, but because they bring everything that the coaches that are going to be above them don't have. When you build your staff as a coach, you build your staff with players that are strong or coaches that are strong in areas that you are weak. Okay. If I know more than my defensive backs coach in his certain area, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm able to teach them. But when my defensive backs coach is able to teach me things and able to add tools to my tool belt, it changes the game. And that's what's going to happen with Robbie Leonard. He's going to have guys that are experienced in those positions, in my opinion, and he's going to get feedback from that in order to help him develop and grow. And you're going to see the same thing from Kubiak, from Mike McCoy.
I'm glad you said that. Well, I mean, Kubiak said that in his intro presser that it's going to be a collective effort between all the coaches, that it's not going to be just me calling the shots. It's going to be you help me help you. And I mean, you hit it right on the button, Will. That was a good answer. Hey.
Well, I'd be like,
And
that's
you
how
wouldn't
it
want it the other
works.
way. You want all these coaches on the
Yeah.
same page and helping each other. Like, I wouldn't understand if, you know, the nation looks at this as a bad move and with these hires, but they're gonna give them a supporting cast. It's not Clint Kubiak, you're getting thrown in the fire, or Robbie Leonard, you're getting thrown in the fire. It's like, no, we're also gonna go get coaches that can help you guys.
Yeah. And that's what we have to do. We have to look at it like that. When we bring in valuable pieces that have knowledge that these coaches lack, that's what you need, man. You build a cohesive team where you can be like, hey, man, I can rely on you. Kubiak's going to go, hey, man, it's 4th and 1. What have you and my dad done? Mike, you know, what have we done? In your experience, what are you looking at? What did you see that I haven't seen? Why are we struggling? Why is this happening? All those questions can get answered when you work with a senior coach because he has that experience. Bro, there's sometimes where our get back coach would be like, hey, coach, get back. And he'd be like, hey, man, did you see this?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. Because you have 2 pairs of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it helps a defensive coordinator when there's 10 pairs of eyes out there looking at the field and then giving him feedback.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's great. But hey, fellas, I'm going to have to jump out of here. I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day. I got to go get ready. And I hope that you guys get all done up just like the Raiders have, baby. And we starting to look pretty. Hey, finally, man, the ugly girl at the prom is starting to get some dates. We're starting to hook up and we start to go forward.
There you go.
Salute, fellas.
That's it, bro. Hey, thanks for my guys. Salute to you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know, man. For me, like, my Valentine's is indoors. All the kids are sick. Wifey's just getting over her flu and stuff, and then, man, I hope I don't get sick.
Dang, sick during.
Hopefully, yeah, we've gone through it, bro. It's like a wave just like passing through. So hopefully I don't get sick. And then also I said I was gonna do a live when we get the defensive coordinator here. It's done, and I don't know if I'll be on Monday. Hopefully, if I'm good, yes. If not, probably not. But I like this hire. And just going back to Mike McCoy, you know, obviously, you know, the thing that really gets me is that, you know, he worked with Cam Ward, he worked with T-Law, so that goes to me that the route that we're probably going to get a new quarterback in the building. I think we're going to move on from Geno. And like I've said before, time and time again, I think we need to move off from Geno, move off and move on. For the reason being is that there's too much, but I think there's bad blood now between us and him, the team and him. I think the team might feel a little bit more cool about it than probably the fan bases. But I think that for Geno to fit in like in a Clint Kubiak system, I don't know. It's a hard one for me, but you're running the risk of poisoning the well, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously they got rid of Geno the year prior when Kubiak came in, and he was like, nah. The whole thing, I think he liked Sam Darnold, and they were going to be Darnold all the way, and they were able to go ahead and pull that move off, right? So hats to them. But I think it's going to be the same scenario here. I think there's just too much bad blood. The performance is too bad, but so bad that they're probably going to go ahead and move off from him. And especially if you're going to go ahead and drop a guy like Fernando Mendoza, you're really running the risk of poisoning the well, which you definitely don't want to go ahead and do. You don't want to go ahead and ruin any of this kid's confidence or any of the culture there, because that's definitely what you want to go ahead and do. And especially if you're your new coach, that is so important, really setting the culture and creating the culture out there. And it sucks for some of the guys who are already there, like Max, like Colton Miller, you know, that having to go ahead and go through this again for like the 4th, 5th time. It sucks, but it is what it is. But you're going to have some new guys there. You're going to have some new players. Some players are going to leave, most likely. And you need to go ahead and have that established, right? The vets are going to go ahead and do what they have to do and get behind the new coach. But it's so important to have that. And we saw what happened on the field defensively. You know, Max was was arguing with E-Rob. We got some public arguments with, Devin White. I don't know if these guys are going to stay or not. I wouldn't cry if these guys, depart this
Oh yeah,
season.
me either. It's going to
Yeah.
be a young team all around too, like not just offense. We talked about the offense being young. This defense is going to be very, very young, very, very young.
I don't want us to go too young because obviously we know what going too young is, or just go with a lot of rookies. Pats just went through it, and you look at what happened at their offensive line. You have to have that mixture of vets with rookies, with the younger player guys, those sophomores, the guys going through their second season. We have a good amount of dudes that are in the building that are going to be on their second season, so they're still impressionable. You want to have a good culture. You want to go ahead and have some leadership there to go ahead and take the reins. So, we'll see what happens with that. And I'm very eager to go ahead and see what type of moves we do, as far as free agency in a few weeks, literally about just under a month. We're under a month away for agency to start. I wanted to ask you this question, right? And we talked about it a little bit briefly during your show the other day, but what kind of expectations should there be for Clint now, being the head coach in his first year? What type of expectations should there be for Clint, if any? What are your thoughts about this?
Player development. I think no one should be expecting wins. That's the first thing, is that, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, 5-12, like they're trying to be a negative. They're not being realistic. They're just saying it because they want to bring down the nation. No, you're being realistic. It will be 5-12, but is it a 5-12 because we're terrible, or is it 5-12 because we just need to get our feet wet? We need to get continuity with each other. They need to build up the relationship. And again, this is a first year for Clint Kubiak. It's not just going to be a 1 year, fix it ideal where he's going to go 12-5. I'm not expecting wins. I'm expecting player development. I'm expecting Jack Bech to take the next step in his second year. I'm expecting Ashton Genty to take the next step. If Fernando Mendoza, for some reason, starts playing, plays in his rookie year, I want to see how he develops Mendoza. Is Mendoza going to be getting better each week? Is he going to be playing worse each week? But also being a leader of men. How are you not just from the offensive side of football? How are you rallying the troops, rallying the entire team? We talked about, is Rob Leonard going to have the defense prepared? Is Clint Kubiak going to have the team prepared? That is what I want to see. I think, and also I think it's an understatement with the halftime adjustments, but just how are they going to come out in the second half? If they start sluggish in the first half, I always live by, it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. Are they going to come out, the game's already over? Or are they he preached about effort. I want to see that out there from top to bottom, from the special teams to the offense to the defense. And I think going back to the hires real quick, I think it makes sense why Rob Leonard is DC, at least as a plan B option. If he wasn't going to get a vet, reason being is because what does Rob Leonard bring? He preaches about effort, and that's what he brings to the defensive line. We talked about Malcolm Kuntz and Tyree Wilson. Well, has the effort been there? Let's ask ourselves that. Has that effort been there? And I think that's what I'm expecting from Clint as a head coach. Is I expect these players to bring effort from special teams. I don't care who you are, down to the 4th-string player, that they're going to bring effort and that they're going to be competitive. Yes, I know we don't like using that word because of last year, but I'm expecting competitiveness. Is it going to equal wins? No, but I could live with Raider games being like that Texans game. If we have 12 losses and they look like that Texans game, which we might get blown out. Let's be for real. There might be some games we're going to get blown out, but if we have majority games where we're competing, we're in it, we're making teams earn their wins, I can live with that, because then you're going into next season like, yeah, we're 5-12, but we could have beat some of these teams. They felt the Raiders. Yeah, they beat us, but they felt us. And next season, going into 2027, now you just add a few more pieces. and you get better and better each year. And if we're talking about expectations as Clint for this 5 years, if I could put that out there, it's just getting better each and every year, each and every week. Just I'm tired of the Raiders being the laughing stock of the NFL, where it's like, oh, that's the Raiders. We'll get back on track. We have a 5-game losing streak, but we got the Raiders, so we'll get back on track. Like they circle us as their get back game. I'm tired of that, and I think Clint's gonna have these boys ready to go come game day. But yes, it's not going to equal wins, and I know people will say that's like, oh, that's kind of contradicting, but it's not contradicting it's not because it's not going to be a 5-12 season as if we suck. It's going to be a 5-12 season because you got a first-year head coach, you got a first-year defense coordinator. It's going to be a young team, adding some vets in there, but you're going to have probably Fernando Mendoza, a young quarterback, starting in the season. Me personally, if I'm going bridge, I'm putting Aiden O'Connell out there. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but I'd rather just put Aiden out there because Mendoza is going to be the starter for the foreseeable future. We got Genty going into year 2. We got Brock going into year 3. Besh going into year 2. Dante going into year 2. I really want to see what these young guys can do, and that is who I'm looking at. And they're going to be a testament to how good of a coach Clint really is, and if he could bring the best out of those guys.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think there should be any type of expectation, but just to look competent out there, looking like we're working towards getting, better. That's what I want us to go ahead and look like, to be in the fight with some of the games that normally we probably wouldn't be in. And like you just said, stop being that bounce back team. That team that you can go, you're gonna go ahead and play the Raiders is gonna be your bounce back team. Like you guys were probably like on a 2-game losing streak. You're gonna play the Raiders. All right, cool. We know we're gonna go ahead and get that one in the bag, type of deal. Like it should be a fight every game. Like knowing like, damn, we're gonna go face the Raiders. Like, yes, they might not have the best record, but it's gonna be a fight. They're gonna go ahead and take it to us, and so we gotta be prepared. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I want. I just putting the building blocks in place to go ahead and move our team forward, the next few years, not just this season, but going into, year 2, year 3, year 4 of Clint's tenure. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm excited to see what the new additions, what coaches we bring along. We haven't named an offensive coordinator as of yet. So we'll see how that pans out. I know that my guy shout out to Ja, he put the rumor out there early, and my bad, I didn't get to. I was gonna put it, and then I got distracted. That supposedly Seahawks are gonna block John Benton from leaving, and that's a guy that we're looking for our offensive line coach, right? So that, again, to Will's point, you're gonna have Seattle block some of these guys, unless you're gonna go ahead and bring him in as a promote him. Yes, as a one higher up type of scenario. So if that happens, that'll be good. I don't know how I feel about him as an offensive coordinator, but if they're able to go ahead and let him part ways, which probably will not be the case, and bring in as a offensive line coach, that would be good. Stoutland is also out in the wind. He literally quit from the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know if he's interested in even coaching this season. Word is that he might take the season off and see about things next season. So we'll see how this coaching staff continues to shape out. With Aiden, I'm not mad if we go ahead and use Aiden as a bridge, right? Would there be a better option? It just depends what route they take. If we bring in a guy like Kirk, I'm not mad at that either. I think this is a season where I'll probably be like, okay, cool. But knowing the role is like, you're just a bridge, bro. You're not going to be here for more than 2 seasons. It's going to be Fernando taking over, and next, either late this season or some point next season. That's kind of how it's going to go ahead and go. So Yeah, see, shout out to Alec. He said, Aiden might not even be on the roster. We don't know. We don't know what
He has one more year on his deal, and that's why I'm like, it makes sense
on the
because I'm
deal.
like, you're whoever starts other than Fernando is going to be gone either way because Fernando is going to be the starter in 2027. Like that's a foregone conclusion. So I'm like, we're going to go that route anyway. Might as well just give Aiden the reins to start, and then Fernando can start later in the season, and then it'll be his team for the foreseeable future. And if it gives Aiden a chance to showcase his talent for not I'm not thinking about the Raiders, maybe as a Raiders backup, but also for another team. You don't know, like he could be showcasing what he has for another team that can use him as a backup quarterback. And you never know, change of scenery can do well for Aiden.
Right.
It's just giving him a shot. That's my thing. Just giving him a shot to showcase his talent, especially if you already got the future quarterback on the roster come after April.
Yeah, my thing with Aiden is that, well, yes, 100%. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. I think you exercise that and having him being one a familiar face, to knowing some of these guys and kind of like Trey Tucker, knowing how he runs routes, working with a little bit now with Jack Besh. That's going to go ahead and help out as well. Obviously, with Brock Bowers, working with Brock, working with Mike Mayer, that continuity, it does help. We know he's an established, at least, backup QB. There's no doubt about that. So I think you keep him here either way. Whether you're going to start him and having him be your bridge, or you're going to keep him as the number 3 guy behind Fernando Mendoza. If Clint's going to go ahead and run with 3 quarterbacks, could happen. I don't know. Right? That'll be a totally different scenario on how he wants to go ahead and operate. But you have it. I think you should go ahead and keep him. I mean, he's cheap. He's on a rookie deal. He's getting paid what? I think he got drafted in the fourth round.
So
so you're paying 4th round money. You're not. It's a drop in the bucket. I think he makes like 1.3, 1.4.
And to your point, Jay, he has a really good connection with Trey. That could really help Fernando. Like, hey, Trey likes to do this. This is how he likes to run his routes. Or this is the signal he gets when he's going to break. Just little things like that is where Aiden can help. And like seeing the type of guy that Aiden is, he would do anything to help Mendoza succeed. He would try to help get on the same page with guys like Brock, Michael Mayer, Trey, Besh, even though, it was one season that, who knows how much time they really had together. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to bring in Aiden, or to have Aiden start, just because of the familiarity, like you said, Jay, that he has with the receivers and the offense. And the one thing that him and Mendoza will have, together in connection is they're both learning a new system with Clint Kubiak. But where Aiden has the upper hand is he has a good connection with Trey and, guys like Brock, guys like Michael Mayer. So, and that's where he can help Fernando get better at, is having those connections, because sometimes it's not just how the play is ran, it's also that connection that you have with your receiver, from a quarterback to wide receiver or quarterback to tight end. I mean, that's why Tom Brady and Gronk were one of the best duos. You got those quarterback wide receiver duos out there, and you want Mendoza and Brock maybe to be that one of them ones.
Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and take a few comments and questions from the chat. Again, appreciate everyone pulling up and rocking with us on this Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, wherever you guys be at. We have over 100 in the building. Make sure if you guys haven't done so, hit that like, hit that subscribe on all the channels here. On my guy, Raider Primos, at Raider Primos. Make sure you guys go ahead and pull up and give him a subscribe. My guy, Raider Will, who just left Silver and Black Radio podcast. Make sure you guys go ahead and show him some love. And then obviously make sure, if you guys haven't done so, hit that like and hit that subscribe to this channel. It does go ahead and help the shows grow and support the channels. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. Let's see here. Checkmate says, I don't love the Rob Leonard hire. I hope it turns out to be a hit. I feel it was a hire that happened because there wasn't any good options left out in the market. You are part. I think you are correct, bro, in the sense where I think the cycle and I was going to mention this, the defensive coordinator cycle for those guys that are available. There wasn't too many guys out there, so this was a situation where you probably had to go out and get some up and coming guys to go ahead and promote
Yeah.
to defensive coordinator, right? We waited so long to go ahead and hire Clint. This is like you get what's you get the bottom barrel shit, right? As far as
Yeah.
guys that are out there that
It's
are
like the con
actually
of waiting
defensive
for
coordinator.
Clint, honestly.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the risk that you run by going out and waiting for Clint for so long. But again, as far as the Robbie Leonard and itself, when you're having this coaching cycle out there, this is probably the best move you can go ahead and make. And getting a guy who is talented himself, but is already in house, knows a lot of the guys, knows how these guys kind of operate, and is always it's gonna most likely play to the strengths as opposed to like getting to know these guys and going from there if you were to bring in someone new. So I like the move. I just didn't think it was gonna happen. I didn't know if they were gonna go ahead and put a flyer out on Robbie, but yeah, they did. And again, and I'm with you. I hope it does turn out to be a hit. You know, could it does it smell a little fishy that it's also to appease Max? Yeah, you can definitely say that too, bro. I don't think you can not think that, you know. But he is talented himself in his own right. So, you know, he's done things to develop guys, and Caleb Chason is definitely a guy you can go ahead and put on the list that literally he came from nowhere. He bounced around from teams until he got here, and he was able to go ahead and find life again. And that is all Robbie Leonard there for sure. You can go ahead and kind of put Spillane in that category as well. But guys like Jonah Lualu, Adam Butler, really got re-up last year, and that's a lot because of Robbie Leonard. So, you know, that kind of goes to show you like this guy has some talent. This guy definitely putting out there. And somebody put that Max said he always challenges that every day. So that's a good thing that you want to go ahead and get from your coach. A guy that's going to challenge you every day at practice, every moment out there. You want a guy who's going to help you push that envelope and help you become better. Let's see here. A shout out to Bebop. He says, truthfully, I'd rather have an experienced QB with the system we are running so that Mendoza can learn from some. Aiden will be trying to learn from the new system like Mendoza. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter who we bring in unless you bring in somebody who's already kind of
Drew Lock.
Yeah, like Drew Lock or something.
Rattler.
Yeah. You know, like, but other than that, it's gonna be probably somebody new. Everybody's gonna be learning. You know, I don't think there's gonna be a really exception there.
Just remember this, Bebop. We're saying this as if Mendoza doesn't start. So Mendoza will be learning from the sidelines. He's not going to be thrown into the fire. Aiden's the one that's going to be getting beat up. Let's put it that way. Okay. I'd rather have Aiden get beat up than Fernando get beat up. Sorry, Aiden. Love you, but I'd rather Fernando be learning from the sidelines. And that's the best way, because think about it. Like, yeah, they're both learning on the fly, but think about what that does for Mendoza year 2. If he learns a full season under AOC, watching AOC, how he operates the system, learning the system from the sideline, and then having another offseason, a full offseason to learn the system again and get it down, come by 2027, Fernando will be prepared. And I hear what you mean. You want to go get a veteran, but what veteran learned Kubiak's system outside of New Orleans and Seattle? Because those were, I think, as far as if those are the only places he was an OC, was Saints and also Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, who's out there that ran his system? Like that's another thing.
Cousins is the only probably like the one of the guys that you can go ahead and
Cousins.
Cousins, and that's why I say like if it's Kirk Cousins, I'm not mad at it because it's gonna money wise. Yeah, that's something you normally don't want to do. But if they do it, it should be for at least like 2 years that I see.
But it's
per
also,
year.
I thought
I don't see him more than that.
and it's also like you said earlier, you got to let Cousins know, like, hey, you're gonna be here as the bridge guy.
You're
Here to basically tutor Fernando, and then you'll be probably the backup next year. But it's like I've been hearing he doesn't want to do. He wants to be a starter still somewhere. I don't know. I mean, whatever route. Cousins or AOC, those will be the two guys I'm okay with. If you can't get Cousins because Cousins want either the money doesn't look right or he wants to be a starter and it's going to cause issues, then Aiden is your plan B in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean you know the quarterbacks that are out currently in free agency. There's not a whole lot. I mean, you got Daniel Jones out there, but I think Indy keeps him. They re-sign him. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think that worked out really good up until the point where Danny Dimes got injured. You have Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's gonna play. I think that's it. I think that we see the last of Aaron Rodgers. I hope, bro, but you never know with this dude. Russell Wilson, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be bouncing around to a different team. Mariota, I like Mariota. Could be a guy that you can go ahead and bring in on the bridge. He is on the cheaper side, definitely. So we know what he was able to go ahead and do with JD5 out in Washington. He was already here working with DC. So I that could be a name out there. Other than that, you have like Zach Wilson, Tyrod, Joe Flacco, Pickett. Yeah. It's going to be gone this year. So
I'm just like this. Like, why pay other than Cousins? Because Cousins makes sense because he's with the system. But outside of Cousins, it's like, why pay a guy when you can just have AFC?
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why if they decide to go ahead and continue that trend of using certain guys in house, I wouldn't mind AOC. Like for that reason, it's still not going to look pretty.
Yeah.
But if you do build the offensive line, and you do it the right way, he's going to have better protection. He might look better than what he would probably normally would have looked.
And that is my thing, Jay. If he looks better, imagine what Fernando will look like. That's the thing I want to I think about. Like, not just showcasing Aiden's talents, but if you do fix that offensive line and he looks better because the offensive line is better and he's getting the play calling down.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. It makes you question, like, dang, man, Fernando can be probably better like than this. Well, he should be better. He'll be a first round pick, first overall. But yeah.
And again, that's it. That they get him cheap, bro. It would cost us for sure, and I'd rather spend that money on.
Is he a free agent this year? Or is he a free agent?
I think they release him, or they're gonna release him from the Falcons.
Okay.
I think that's what I've heard. Like, he's gonna become available.
Yeah, the money just gotta be right, and it's like, Cousins, bro. Like, I know you're trying to get that bag before you retire, but not here.
Oh no. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work if that's the situation for sure. But again, go ahead and get your questions in, guys. I put out a poll at the beginning of the show, asked everybody how do they feel about Robbie Leonard being the next DC. So on the vertical stream, it's 63% say they like it, 37% say no, they do not like it. Should have went with somebody with experience. On the normal horizontal feed, you got 76% say they like the hire, 24% say no, they should have went with somebody with experience. 46 votes on the horizontal one. So if you guys haven't done so, make sure you guys head on over to whatever stream you're watching. Hit click your vote and let your voice be heard. But I just want to go ahead and share that with you guys. So majority of Raider Nation filling it. Some people are not. And again,
I see both sides.
Yeah, both sides is that you are running a little bit of a risk going with somebody who's not who doesn't have that experience. Like, how is that really going to look commanding a whole defense now? Not just your little group of guys. Now you got to go ahead and see it as a whole. You're going to be dialing up all the plays. You're going to be coming up with the schemes. It's your job now. Yes, you have help. You're going to have some other coaches you can get their input and design schemes around that. But ultimately, the buck stops with him, with Robbie. So it's going to be interesting how this thing plays out. for us on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm all for it. I'm excited to see what that's going to look like.
It's like Will said, and you got to give coaches. Every coach is a risk. When they're up and coming. Sean McVay, the Sean McVays. Rams took a chance on him. We could talk about Matt LaFleur with Green Bay, and again, you guys, and heck, Chicago took a chance on Ben Johnson. It's looked well.
Experience.
And I get it. We took a chance on Lane Kiffin. It didn't work out. We took a chance on Dennis Allen. It didn't work out. I get it. There's two sides that it can either work out or not work out, but you got to take a chance, And I think we all agree we did want a veteran, but I think they promoted Rob Leonard. I think there was also just a plan B. Basically, they weren't going to get any veteran coming in, but I really hope there's no truth to them hiring to please Max. I really hope there's no truth to that. Which there might be like a little bit of truth to that.
That's why I said it's a two birds with one stone type of thing. I don't think they necessarily did it for Max. I think they got the best guy you can go ahead and get, and promoting a guy from within and give him that opportunity. But you're also, by doing that, appeasing Max in a sense, knowing that this is Max's guy. He's going to go ahead and rock with them. Now he's going to be more of an incentive for him to stay, or at least mend fence, whatever the shit that's out there, whether there's truth to it or not. I don't know. But the likelihood of like having that familiar face for Max is going to be there now. You're going to have continuity there with Robbie Leonard calling the shots. He's a guy now, so it definitely, it's a two birds with one stone type of scenario. Shout out to my guy IE Raider Mike. He says, based on what we know about this regime, are they going to spend on a QB? I'd rather see the money spent on an online D line, roll with AOC for the bridge. Facts. And I think if you're going to go with Mendoza, which I think that's probably going to be the route that they go, that money gets put into something else, the offensive line. You might get some guys in free agency, defensive wise, because offensively, we don't need that many pieces. Defensively, I think we're going to need more pieces. A lot of the guys are in a 1 year. They're going to be gone. A lot of them are peaked guys, so I don't see them sticking around necessarily. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I do see, I could see like us not going out and getting a vet bridge of significance. I'll be very surprised if that happened. But if it happens, then if we do go out and get Mendoza's most likely going to sit. Now, again, the question now raises, like, if you get Mendoza, do you start him right away or do you sit him right away? And I don't know what show we did, and we opened up that kind of worms. And that's a whole argument in itself, because you have guys like Tom Brady who have openly expressed that he believes quarterbacks should sit their first year. And then you have the other side of the argument where, like, you drafting a guy at number 1, number 2, they should definitely be starting, and we saw what it was with JD5 and Washington under Cliff Kingsbury. With his system, they were able to go to the NFC Championship game. This year did not look as good. A lot of it being JD5 was injured, so that also negated some of that.
Which that was a knock on him coming out of college was, how his frame was gonna, coming into the NFL, and that he needs to bulk up a little bit more muscle. And sure enough, second year it showed. And who knows how his career is gonna go, but like you're saying, you never know with these quarterbacks. They'll have a good rookie year, and then a sophomore year. I mean, heck, we've seen it with our own DC4. He looked like he was on a trajectory to be one of the best. And then he kind of just flatlined and just stayed at an average point. You never know, with these quarterbacks. But I agree with Brady on that. I think Mendoza should sit. That's how I feel. If they start him, they start him. They sit him, they sit him.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Bebop is they are going to try to sit him because of what Brady said. He's a big part in that decision making. Don't know. I think that's going to be a Clint Kubiak call. To be honest with you, it could go either way, bro. It could go either way.
Because it's like what Dennis Allen did with DC, right? I mean, he had him battling out with Matt Schaub, who Matt Schaub was supposed to be the starter, and DC beat him out. Who's to say Mendoza comes in here and doesn't win the job right away? That he looked ready.
there could be a clear level like distinction between him
and like you said, that's going to be a Kubiak thing because Kubiak's going to be there watching, like during practice, and Brady's not going to be there.
He's a play caller. Yeah, he's a play caller on the offensive side, and he's a boss. So if it's all about, does he have confidence in him to execute the offense that he's designing to a T? Yeah. If he feels that he can't, if there's like a reservation about it, he might go ahead and sit him. I think it's all going to be on the eye test and what he sees from him at practice, on how he's absorbing the playbook and all that stuff. I feel Fernando can go ahead and be able to get that down as far as the playbook, but the executing part, that's going to be the real question, bro. That's the thing that honestly I just don't know. I don't know.
And hopefully Leonard can make a good defense, make it hard on the quarterbacks,
Yeah. Shout out to Checkmate. He says the last thing on Leonard is that I feel like Raiders brass hired and not Clint's choice. Might be wrong, but it feels like that they announced that we're keeping Leonard before officially they hired Clint. Yes. I don't think it's a brass hire. They did keep him, but that was going to be ultimately on Clint to decide what they're going to go ahead and do with these guys. And it wasn't just him. It was like Joe Woods and a couple other people as well. Luke Steckel, he's on the offensive side of the ball. He's a tight ends coach. He survived to see another day, and I think he's probably going to stay on board. I don't see him necessarily moving off, but I think it's just the cycle had a lot to do with it. And then I think it's just because Robbie is talented, you can't knock it. It's just the fact that he probably wowed Clint in that interview and he got the nod. It just makes sense on different levels for them to go ahead and make that move. I don't think it was just all on the brasses, was all on Spytek or Brady. I think it was just like it was a collaboration, and they were probably like, this just makes sense on so many different levels. Might as well give this guy an opportunity. So, obviously, I feel like if he does a really poor job and really shits the bed this year, then he might get clipped next year. But he might be on a shorter leash than some of these other guys. But
that's what I think too, and I feel bad for Leonard because he deserves. I feel like he deserves this opportunity. It sucks it's coming like this because it does feel like a plan B, like a plan B option, that he wasn't the favorite option, but he is also the safest option if you're not going to get that veteran defensive coordinator. But I do agree. I think it's going to be a shorter leash for him.
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't even think about this. Shout out to Raider Mike. He says an experienced DC would probably be leaving after the season for a head coaching job. You're right, bro. You're right. Yeah, and the thing with that's why I said it hits on multiple fronts. With Leonard, you keep him here. You can have him for 2 seasons if you wanted to. Again, I think it's like if he really fucks this job up and the defense looks worse than they did last year, then he probably doesn't stick around. But if it's at least the same or if it's better, then he's gonna go ahead and live to fight another day for sure. And that's a cool that's the thing. That's a win-win in this scenario where if it works out with Robbie and it works out with Clint and we're getting progressively better, you're gonna have Robbie here on the same timeline as
the timelines add up.
Yeah, so it works out on that front as well.
Yeah, shout out to Mike, because I was thinking about that with Shorts too, because all this coming out that Shorts wants a head coaching gig. I was like, yeah, he could come here, coach 1 season, defense balls out, and then he's out the following year because he gets a head coaching gig somewhere. So that is a good thing that Mike pointed that out, because I think that's what we probably overlooked when it came to the Schwartz debacle in Cleveland.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. He says, I'm okay with it, but not okay if they did it to appease Max. If they did it for Max, shows he's higher than the Shield. You're right. I think it's just you getting it. It's a win-win all around for sure. Let's see here. Checkmate said, according to PFF, the Raiders D-line ranked 22nd in 2025. So part of that also too is just like,
I mean, we had a stagnant offense. Like that's the thing. People need to add context to that defense. The defense was bad. It was, but it doesn't help when your offense is going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And then On top of that, the defense, there's times that defense kept us in games, you guys. But what, the Raiders offense finished averaging 14 points a game? Like, that's not going to win you football games. If your offense is just going 3-9, and then kicking field goals when they finally do get something, like it's not gonna you're not gonna win football games like that. And I still say the defense needs to get better. This is not giving them an excuse, but the context matters. Context matters, and I think Rob Leonard at last season, it was just a terrible season all around from offense to defense. I think I'm expecting a better year for this defense, and I think the only way he gets canned is this defense looks like terrible, like last in sacks, last in turnovers, like just first, like last in points given up, that we're giving up like 30, 35 points a game. It's got to be like dog shit terrible for him to get like canned.
Yeah, for sure. Let me put up this comment by Raider Villain. He says, if Clint can make AOC look good, we can get trade value halfway through the season, at very least a test dummy. Hey, bro. I mean, I've seen stranger shit happen, but I think he'll look better I think AOC will look better with some protection, and that's just the reality of it. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's in the pocket. He's a pocket type of quarterback, and guess what? Our offense was lacking protection. There was no pocket or hardly any pocket at times. So, yeah, if we're able to go ahead and address this, which we should, I'll be fucking flabbergasted, bro. I'll be like surprised if we don't do anything. The likelihood is very strong we're going to address this offensive line, especially with Clint Kubiak here this offseason. It's going to start in free agency. There's a couple of names out there. Obviously, we all talked about Tyler Lindenbaum. I think there was one of the tackles from Seattle was also available. So we'll see what happens with that. There's a couple of guys out there that the Raiders could go ahead and bring in on free agency to strengthen up this offensive line. Even if you grab one or two guys in the draft, you still want to go ahead and mix in some veteran presence, because we're young, bro. We're young on
Linderbaum's my big fish, only because him, JPJ, and Miller like manning that left side. Like, you already have your offensive line better, bringing in the Linderbaum. And that's if you want to keep JPJ at guard. If Clint doesn't and Clint wants JPJ at center, then I would go get a Braden. I think that's going to be a telltale sign if they don't get Linderbaum and they go get Braden Smith. I think you're going to kick JPJ back into. But
you got more. Frank's like,
hey, you need that for Valentine's Day, right?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, shout out to Frank Weber.
Oh man. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be a telltale sign. Like, if they don't get Linderbaum, at least go get Braden Smith. Now you got Colton Miller, you got Smith at right tackle, and you can even kick Charles Grant back in the guard into the inside. At that point, you just need to worry about the inside. You got JPJ at center, Braden Smith at right tackle, Colton Miller at left tackle, and you got some young guy. Like, go draft, but you got some guys like Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant that can play the tackle, even DJ Glaze too, that can play the guard spots. Like, see what you got. But I would still draft some, but hey, just know you still got some guys in house that to take a look at.
Yeah, for sure. So let me go ahead and go over a couple more comments. Raider Villain says we should have our O-line addressed before the draft. I don't think you don't need that many pieces. You don't need to replace a whole offensive line. For sure, center, a guard, and that's pretty much it. Maybe you can go ahead and draft a right tackle. That's if you plan to go ahead and move off of Glaze and push him up to guard. That's another question in itself. How much is that really like him regressing, or is that coaching, or is it a combination of both? I've said that it's a combination of both. I think if we get a better offensive line coach, I think it's going to look better. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Primo?
Oh, I agree. I think people they overreact to how bad the offensive line was last year. And I've always went back to training camp that the telltale signs were there when they started doing that weird shift for whatever reason. And what was even weirder is they waited till training camp to do it. Like, they didn't do it in OTAs, they didn't do it in mini camp. They waited to training camp, like before preseason, to do it. And I said, okay, you can experiment it. It's training camp. This is where you want to make these experiments, see how it will look. Go into preseason, see how it will look. And then they said that would be the starting lineup for week 1, week 2. And I was like, okay, I drank the Kool-Aid because I'm thinking, okay, if that is what they believe is the best 5 out there, then go ahead and do that. But it was clear cut right away. That was not the best 5 out there. That Meredith should not have been at center. JPJ, he plays great at guard, but he's a better center, and you have a guard playing center. Like, it just didn't make sense from the jump. So, like, I tell people who believe that the offensive line, like, you need a whole new line. The line was only bad because you had players playing in spots they should not have even been playing in from the get-go. Now you're bringing in a coach in Clint Kubiak. Whoever is this offensive line coach who he brings in, we have yet to see that. I think them just getting and shout out to Raider Paul, or salute to Raider Paul, them moving on from Brendan Carroll already made this offensive line better. It's already made this offensive line better. Now, who are they going to bring in as their offensive line coach? We have yet to see. And how are they going to move JPJ? Are they going to keep him at center? Are they going to keep him at guard? I just don't want to see a guard play at center. Like, that's all I. But all the jokes aside, I believe we're not going to see that. We have guys in the room that they're not going to overcomplicate it. I go back to that with Clint Kubiak. To add an expectation, he's not going to overthink it. And like, we see that with Seattle. He's like, my bread and butter is the run game. I'm going to stick with it. Q earlier today on Graf and Wace's show said that about Clint, that just because Jency has 3 bad carries, he's not going to stop running the football. And I love that, because it's telling me he's going to make the offensive line an emphasis, that I need my running game to get going. And he said in his presser, it's not just Jency. It's on the quarterback making the right checks, and it's on the offensive line to be on the same page with each other and making sure they're blocking correctly. So I'm excited for the offensive line, you guys, going into this offseason. We still got to make some moves. So I got to sign some people to make it better. But I don't believe that the offensive line is going to be the same like last year. I think it's going to be totally different. Totally different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's some guys in free agency that, you can definitely keep an eye on,
Mm-hmm.
I think Braden Smith is a guy who's a right tackle. And again, that's if you're going to go ahead and, replace Glaze, either put him at depth or push him up to guard. You can go different ways with that. Linderbaum, if you're going to go ahead and literally plug him in that center. I mean, the thing is, with Linderbaum, you have a good experienced center who's been doing it longer than JPJ. He's a Remington Award winner. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that people don't know.
2 Remington Award winners.
And he's been in the league for a little while now. He's really still young. He has a long way to go.
I believe, right? 25. I don't know if he'll be
25, 26, something like that.
Yeah.
So he's still young. And we know that JPJ could play that guard position. So that would be all depending on what Clint wants, So there's definitely names to go ahead and keep on the lookout for. Evan Neal is another one. John Simpson is another one. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, going out and getting a receiver is another thing that we also do need. So we have a lot of holes that we need to go ahead and fill in. Also on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of guys are leaving. Again, I don't know if Erob is here this season. I don't know if Devin White makes it another year. So all the Eric Stokes. I don't know if Eric Stokes is going to be free agent. I think he's on a 1 year.
I don't know. Or yeah, I don't know if he was on a 1 or a 2 year. If you want to bring a veteran corner in, you can, but I think there's better corners that you could possibly look at, possibly.
Yeah, Eric Stokes was on a 1 year.
I like Jamel Dean. I like Jamel Dean from Tampa Bay, but who knows if they'll keep him because he's been solid on that defense. But Eric Stokes, it seems he's like the fittest I'm going based off Spot Track that he's like the 6th best corner in free agency.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean, there's not a lot of names out there, but if you could get better at that corner spot, why not?
Yeah, exactly. You still have Darren Porter there. He's going to be going to his second year. We all know how talented he is. That's going to be something that Robbie can go ahead and also have in his disposal a guy like Darren Porter that shows a lot of promise.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there for sure. I hope that, like Will said, that's why I asked that question. I hope we upgrade that nickel position and we get some guys out there to help in that spot. I don't know. Get a safety out there, free safety, to go ahead and help out Bolmao as well. Just that whole, again, a lot of guys just fucking playing out of position. It fucking killed me. And this is a result of it. Just trying to reinvent the wheel. But
I think, Jay, you hit it right on the button. I think that's what we have to remember, that it was a lot of guys just playing out of position from defense and offense, that it wasn't as bad as, the record looked bad, the play looked bad, but I fought the coaches 100%. I'm not saying that they had the talent. They probably didn't have the talent, but you didn't, as coaches, you're supposed to put these guys in the position to make plays and have success. And they didn't. They didn't do that. And Pete showed he would not do anything to change that. That he will, we've said it numerous times on post-game shows together, that why is he marching the same offensive line out there? Like, you're seeing Geno getting killed and you're still putting the same offensive line out there. You're still putting Palomalu, having him run the back end when you see that he's better when he's in the box and playing down to the line of scrimmage. It just made no sense the way the coaches were putting these guys and putting them in spots where they were at. It was just making zero sense to me.
Right, exactly. I agree, for sure. So, we'll see what happens with these offseason moves again. Free agency starts.
Sorry, I looked at Sean's comment.
Which one?
Sean Johnson. Once Dallas was said, I knew this coach lost their damn.
Bro. Shit, I was kind of shocked to hear that. I don't know where the fuck these guys were meeting at, like after hours. They were meeting at Starbucks or whatever to go over fucking film, bro. And
it's bad when your GM has to do it. That's when you know it's bad. Oh man. Hopefully we ain't got no more work for this season.
Yeah, for sure. There you go. So see Brer safety and Brian Seahawks. Okay.
Is he talking about the guy that intercepted Geno twice or 3 times, I think?
I probably, bro.
Hired or for Bear safety? I don't even know if he's a free agent, but if he is, hey, that's another guy you could look at.
Yeah, Josh Jobe is going to be a free agent this season coming up. So, there's a couple of guys.
They got the money to do it. That's the thing. The Raiders got the money to do it. They got the money to upgrade some positions, but don't expect guys for them to just have like a New England type of offseason where they're paying guys left and right. They're probably going to get some guys that probably, on some cheap deals, but I think you want to get starters. You're not probably going to get, I think Q said it best, you're not going to get stars. He said it according to the draft, but I think just in the offseason, to quote Q, is you're not going to get stars, but you're going to get starters. And that's, at this point, that's all you can ask for is it's just starters.
Yeah, I agree. Would we want to get Woolen? Before, yes, but
that NFC Championship game left the salty taste in my mouth.
Yeah, me too, bro. That I think he's a little bit of a.
I could have lost him the game. Like, let's be honest, I could have lost them the game,
bro. Yeah, I'm surprised that. I mean, I think you were kind of like, "Fuck, we have to play the dude," but you're gonna have that type of issue with him. So, I don't know. That all depends if Kubiak and Leonard are down
in check, and Rob Leonard could keep him in check. I'm all for it, but he has to keep his emotions in check. He has to definitely keep his emotions in check.
Yeah, 100%. But Yeah, Raheem Shaheed is probably like another guy. I would like to go ahead and grab him. A lot of arrows are pointing this way. So again, I think we'll see what happens there. If
It'd be nice to have a threat in the kicking game.
yeah,
And I can only remember to Jacoby Ford was the only guy that he was a threat that it made you want to watch the kickoff
yeah,
when the Raiders received it.
exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think you go get Shaheed. Oh, definitely, I'm gonna be tuning in for Raider kickoffs.
Oh yeah, 100%, bro. But yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Literally March 11th, I think it's when free agency starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. Uh, we'll be able to go ahead and see what type of moves that the Raiders make. The combine, I think it's like in another week or so. I expect Clint to be out there assessing some of the talent, and there's some good draft talent coming out defensively. So for those also
Yeah, I
wanting
definitely
to go
got to do
ahead,
some homework.
yeah. Hey, Jacob Rodriguez, dog. That's all I'm gonna put out there. Or anybody from the Texas Tech defense.
Hey,
I'm good with it.
they
I'm
balled
good with
out
it.
from what
They
I heard.
balled out, bro.
Yeah,
They put fucking Oregon on notice in their playoff, and though Oregon still won, bro. They struggled for that 20 points, bro. It didn't look pretty at all. Normally they run over dudes. They didn't quite run over them. It's just their offense was just shit. They just couldn't put anything on the field. So, yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. But let them know, Primos, where they can find you. What do you have going on? All that good stuff.
What's up, Nation? You guys can find me at Raider Primos on X, Instagram, YouTube. Just search up Raider Primos, and you will find it should be probably the first channel that pops up. I usually do shows Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If news is pretty slow, I try not to. I usually don't go live. I don't like putting clickbaity shit out there. If there's nothing to talk about, there's nothing to talk about, unfortunately. But as you guys seen today, we have something to talk about. Monday we'll probably, if there's any more moves, we'll probably we'll break it down. But yeah, I'll be keeping the lookout for any news, and if there's any news on your guys' end, hey, we'll be going live. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and also hit that bell so you guys don't miss any live shows that happen or any short videos that I put out there. And also,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep.
I gotta
That's
start putting. I know I gotta start putting some shorts out there. That's the thing. I gotta start putting some shorts.
Yeah, I know. I try to put as much shorts as I can. Yeah, that's why I always say make sure you guys hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification on all the channels. When news goes down, we go on. Don't want to be left out in the dark. Hit that subscribe, hit that noti for sure, 100%. For me, I don't have anything going on this weekend. Monday, if hopefully
That's the thing. If there's any news,
sick. I'll be having another Raiders Unfiltered at 5 p.m. Pacific on the West Coast. So make sure you guys go ahead and pull up for that one. Unless anything else happens from now to then, I'll be most likely Monday again. I'll go ahead and pull up and stuff. So I know everybody's out for the count here with the whole flu season, flu virus is going around. So hopefully I don't get sick. I've been unscathed up to this point, but
you might need a bunker down in your Raider room.
I've been taking fucking like all these vitamins and immune boosters, and I think that's kind of what saved me up until this point. But yeah, you just don't know. You just don't know. Yeah, shout out to Shishan. He says, yeah, Texas Tech, David Bailey, Jacob Rodriguez, Romeo Heights on that defense, bro. I'm telling you, Texas Tech, and they were starters. Sign me the fuck up. They had a phenomenal defense last year for sure. Appreciate you, Kurt. Salute to everybody again. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe on this channel. Salute to over 100 in the building. We had a great show. Thank you for Will for pulling up. He had to go ahead and do the damn thing. It's Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Sucks. We couldn't do anything. All the kids are sick, so but it's all good, man. Other than that is it for us. Appreciate you guys. I will see you guys next time on another Raiders Unfiltered. Until then, always remember, just Raiders, baby. So, till next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. There you go.